Welcome, everybody. It is me. It is the Cyber Warrior. This is CyberWarriorStudios, and y'all know what you're all here for. You're here for Security Happy Hour. You're here for an amazing show. And it's Freya's Day, so show some love. Make sure you share this stream. And I promise you, you ain't going to regret it because it's going to be an amazing episode. And we got Eric in the back just talking about they're here to see him. No one wants to see Eric. They're all here for me and Rebecca. Jeez. And we're back. And hey, like I said, it's me, the Cyber Warrior. This is Security Happy Hour. And with me, I have, as always, my partner in crime, my friend, my brother, Eric Bellardo. Eric, how's it going, man?
I'm doing awesome. It's Friday. It's been a long week, and we're here for Security Happy Hour. And we have an excellent guest here with us that I've been looking forward to introducing to everybody. So let's get started.
Well, then, look, if you've been looking forward to it, Eric, why don't you introduce her today? Because you've been looking forward to it. Go ahead.
Yes.
Who we have with us, Eric?
Today we have the grand Rebecca Fisher. Everybody say hello. Everybody say hello in the chat. Okay, Rebecca, can you tell us a little bit about you?
Hi everyone. So I don't see who's in the chat. So that's a little I don't know how many people are in the chat. I was an executive assistant for a tribal chairperson for the last 16 years, and then I transitioned into cybersecurity. I now work for a company called Sino Security Solutions. It is a small veterans-owned security company, and I do vulnerability assessments and look at incident response plans, business continuity plans for small, mid-sized businesses, some personal businesses, clubs, that space.
That's awesome. So what got you interested in cybersecurity? Because I know a little bit of what you said, but please let us know what really sparked your interest for cybersecurity.
I had worked in, when you're in the chairperson's office, like tribes or sovereign nations, and you're in a government to government relationship with the federal government. And so we deal a lot with all of the federal departments, Department of Homeland Security, Indian Health Services, HHS, I mean, all of them. And we were hit with a ransomware. Our government was hit with a ransomware, and it shut us down. And when you have, your clients can't get a hold of you, or you're running a tribal health clinic, or you're running housing programs, and the most vulnerable people can't get a hold of you or get the services that they need, I think that just changed my life work.
Yeah,
and it took me a little while. I mean, I think I was really angry with the IT guys, right? Thinking that it was an IT issue. And really, when you look at the big picture, you're like, man, we need to give the IT guys a little more respect. They're the ones always arguing to get funding. And then you have management or councils or whatever, the boards that don't understand necessarily all that's involved, and you need to have nice arguments to be able to fund this stuff, right?
So what have you done to help, now that the challenges of the IT and information security and cybersecurity people? How do you get people to understand that they need to invest a little money to protect themselves? What are things that you tell people or have conversations with them?
I think I do a lot just in my personal life. I do a lot with elections and local government, and just getting people out to vote. And one of the things that I do talk about is when you're looking at voting, look and maybe make sure that if they're putting a person on a board, or there's going to be a new person that's going to be even on your local chamber board, get somebody that has some cybersecurity awareness or some knowledge of it, so they know the questions to ask and they can facilitate conversations about it. and be the champion, when they look at budgets and they're approving budgets, they can be that champion on that board or council or however you're structured to fund what is needed.
Yeah, it's very important because it's got to come from the top.
Yeah,
it's not just the IT people saying we need this. It's having people in the top that understand that's why whenever there's a big ransomware or some big breach or something, that's when the first time that they say, oh, look, we got to, put some money into this.
Oh man, everyone's running Windows 7. We got to upgrade.
Hey, that's better than Windows XP. I still see those around.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's not, and he's not wrong. And the other issue is like you said, you don't have the security people in the government itself at the lower levels. Now we're seeing it more and more at a federal level, but when you're looking at, your tribal nations and things of that nature, you're not seeing that security champion that's going to say, hey, we need to protect ourselves. We need to really, secure our infrastructure from outside threats. And if you don't have that senior, and John Good says it right here, security means absolutely nothing without senior leadership support. So if you don't have that senior leader, that CISO, that security director, that something, then you're not going to have it doesn't matter who you have employed, because you don't have that top level support coming down to help you.
And I really think the top level support is the one that builds the security culture at whatever. It doesn't matter if you're at a business, if you're working for a government, if you're working for a little farm that's using a payment system. Really, it's from the top down.
Yeah, for sure. And that's going to be fighting C-suite apathy, pushing a 10-ton boulder up a hill. Yeah. And it really is. And I think part of that issue comes down to, especially with a lot of CISOs, is that they don't get the buy-in from the CEO, the CIO, the CFO, the COO. So they're fighting a losing battle, it feels like to them. So they just give up because they can't get the funding.
I also think that when people are hiring a CISO, when they look at that, they need to treat that position as a person that reports to the board. Because what happens is, if they're reporting to an administrator or they're reporting to a lower level, then you've got layers, right? You're fighting layers to be able to move and get the funding and get secure and get training initiatives. I mean, because the training initiatives should be coming from everyone, right? And for everyone.
So you hit a sore spot there, because just like we hear about people saying you need to know how to code to get into cyber or whatever, all these gatekeeping things in the C-suite or the higher levels, the challenge is, or the thing that's a sore spot is, where does the CISO or the CSO or the director of security report to? Okay. For years, the CISO was reporting under the CIO or the CTO, and it's created that, Fox watching the hen house thing, because, the CIO and CTO has some functional stuff. They want to install this. They want to make this better for the users. But the CISO was saying, look, by doing that, you're creating vulnerabilities, you're creating issues, you're doing this. And the person that had those initiatives would say, no problem. So then they started saying, well, let's put the CISO under the chief financial officer. And that was working for a while. But what happened is, if you look at the title, Chief Information Security Officer, that's a C-suite level, but the CISO never had the same power as the COO, the CTO, the CIO, whatever. So it was not a relationship, peer relationship. and it can report to the board, it can report to the financial officer, but it needs to have that same level as kind of
Right.
like
Like
that
they need to be
CIO.
they need to be on the senior management team. When you're looking at your senior management team and it's the CFO, the CEO, that person needs to be included.
Yep. And as you know, I've been a CISO 2 or 3 times, and
He
it's
always leaves. I haven't figured that out yet. He
Probably
just
wants to sleep again.
So yeah, it is. It's crazy. And I do have, so we've got some comments here that I want to touch on. So Rebecca Ford, she nails it. CISOs are always the scapegoat. And they are. When things go bad, they blame the CISO. They don't blame anybody else. They don't blame the CEO that opened up a phishing email or the CFO that did something. And it's going to get me to John Good's comment here in a minute. They blame the CISO. When things go bad, it's their fault. And that's where John Good comes in. It's not necessarily that the CISO has to report to the board, although that's good. Ultimately, a lot of the higher executives, CEO, CFO, etc., aren't held accountable for breaches. They blame the CISOs or CISOs or whatever you want to call them. That's who they blame. And that's the problem, because you have a lot of this. Well, I'm the CEO. I should have rights to this. I should be able to do that. I should be able to do this. You have CFOs doing the same thing. And to Eric's point and your point, if the CISO's not at that same level to counter that and say, well, no, because I'm at your level, I don't have those rights. You shouldn't have those rights. That's the way it should go. And have that capability to talk to the board.
Let me give you something even more basic. Okay. The vulnerability management in a company, right? You scan, you identify vulnerability, and then you say, hey, CIO, your team must patch this. And they say, sorry, we can't have any downtime. We can't have this. You can't have that. And then you have this power struggle of, you've got vulnerabilities, you've got to patch them, you got hit. Guess what? It wasn't my fault. I told you, but then I'm going to get blamed.
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to talk more on that, but there is something I've got to know, Rebecca, because the whole premise of what we're doing now is talking about people just coming into the field. And I already like what you got to say, but how has your first year, so you're not even a year into your first cybersecurity job, correct?
No, not quite.
So reminds me of the military. Yeah, you're not wrong. I don't even know who that user is. LinkedIn sucks for getting chats up here, just so you're aware. So if you're watching this on LinkedIn, I apologize. We're not going to see your name, but come over to YouTube. We can see everybody. But Rebecca, in your first, I think it's like 9-10 months now, how has your first year gone, and what was your struggle getting into that position?
I think it was like harder for me to leave my last position. Really, it wasn't a struggle getting into that position. I kind of like got hired like right out of I did a boot camp. I know like some people are like, "Ooh, boot camps." I think they're expensive.
I like boot camps.
So do I think one of the good things about the boot camp that I did is it exposed me to a lot of things, right? And it got me out of my comfort zone, right? Like we were in classes and you're spinning up your boxes, and I would always like name my network like something crazy. Like I had one like the Golden Girls, and there was like Blanche and Dorothy and Sophia were my machines, right? And Blanche was the spicy one. She was the one that was attacking all the time, right? And so so I had to share my screen, right? And my professor was like, "Oh, Fisher, you're going to just share your screen." And I was like mortified, right? Like I was with a bunch of dudes and I was like, they're not going to get my Golden Girls reference, right?
I got it.
Right.
So it took me out of that comfort zone.
Yeah.
And so that, I think in that way it was good, right? It gave me like this cohort of people that I felt safe with for a little while,
Yeah. And I completely understand that, because even when I've done all Rebecca's in cybersecurity are awesome. Proud of you for sharing. Of course, that would come from Rebecca Ford, who's in cybersecurity.
I mean,
love
yeah,
you.
She's got a great
She's
name.
been on the show before too. So if you haven't seen her episode, you should, after this, go back and watch it. But yeah, so that's interesting because I love boot camp. So I'm one of those ones that, depending on what it is, I completely agree with boot camp. Some of them suck, some of them are great. You just got to kind of pick and choose and find the right one. But we got a very big questions from Leonardo down here. What is the most important thing you've learned in your first year?
I think my biggest piece of advice to anyone starting is get involved and reach out to people that you think are unreachable, because even if you reach out to 5 and only 1 replies, you got a really good contact or connection. And so there has been a couple of times that I have been nervous as hell to hit that send button, and I was like, fuck it, just do it. And I get a response and I'm like,
Full
this is,
send, Rebecca. Full send. Just do it.
you know, and realizing like this has been a great contact, and I'm gonna, be able to build a really cool program with this, or they're gonna be a great connection, and get involved. I mean, I joined the WESIS, Women in Cybersecurity, and I'm on the data law and privacy affiliate. I'm the treasurer. And so just get involved. Find those local things or little things that you can be involved in. And if you can't find them, build them. Right? Like for a while I had a group of kids like coming to my house hacking my dishwasher. Like
Nice.
like just building a little mosquito server, and we were turning it on and off, on and off, on and off.
You got a smart one, don't you? You got one of those smart ones that can do that.
Yeah. I mean, it was just like, but like those little things. I mean, I really want to get into the donkey car and get these kids out where I live doing some AI.
And that's huge. And that's one of those things that, like, it's crazy how you went from, and I love your experience so far, because it's really crazy how you went from really not wanting or knowing or even capable of doing cybersecurity to, holy shit, we got ransomware. I want to know how to respond and do all this stuff. I want to know how to prevent this. And immediately the switch flipped and you were into it almost immediately. A boot camp and applying to jobs later, and you're there. And it just goes to show that it is fully possible for anybody at any age, from any career field, to break through and get into it. And that's the biggest thing. And Carrie, I have some wonderful people to reach out to and that push me. And that's what you need. It's building your network and things of that nature. Nest Hacks, getting involved, like in Raices, can get you job opportunities and gaining new friends that you never would have gotten if you didn't get involved. And it's very true. I talk about support all the time in your support systems. How big was your network and your support system, Rebecca, on changing careers from what you were doing to getting into cybersecurity?
I might get a little emotional about it. It was me and my 2 boys. And I have
Yeah.
2 little boys, and I mean, I had to pay for the boot camp, which was crazy expensive, but it was like I was working like catering jobs and working whatever I could to pay for it. And then I would come home and be on class, and sometimes I would be like so tired I think I fell asleep on class, and then would have to like rewatch it. But I mean, my boys were right there with me. They knew like, oh, it's Tuesday night, mom. We're gonna eat cereal for dinner, or like so. I didn't
Okay,
have
what's
a
wrong
huge.
with that?
Yeah, I did not have a
Hey,
huge.
that's a great dinner. I don't know what you're upset about. That is an awesome dinner in my book.
I didn't have that huge network, but I remember when I passed, like you had to like keep getting above a whatever to keep going. And I remember when I passed, like my kids were like, they were like my biggest cheerleaders. They were like right there, like they were like running up and down the hallway screaming like, "You did it, mom, you did it."
That's good.
And
That's
and
really
that's one of the most important things. And it's something I talk a lot about. We got ITPR guy. Look, I love you, homie. You're in like every stream these days. I talk to you on Discord, on Twitter. You're doing great things. But he has a hard time getting involved with these things because of how timid he is. What would be your advice for him trying to get out of his comfort zone and really trying to get more involved?
Go talk to old people. And I say that because
Eric's right here. He's right above me.
no, I'm talking about like old people. Like go to like your little care facility and run, do a little like cybersecurity awareness month is coming up. Go bring some little candies and go talk to them about cybersecurity, right? They will love you and they will love on you and they will support you and they will be your number one fans and they won't judge you because they don't really know anything about it and they will just think it's so cool because a lot of them didn't grow up, I mean, if you think about their generation was rotary phones or maybe they didn't even have phones, and to have this technology where they can like talk to their kid or talk to their grandkids, on a tablet. I mean, that's so cool to them.
Yeah, for sure. And that's really big. And look, as a father of 5 boys, them and my wife have been my biggest supporters. We got so many chats here just going off on Eric being old, and I love it. It is my favorite chat so far in these streams. But it's amazing because that support system is vitally important. And the fact that you just said, not only, and so look, we got Ness Hacks on here. That's so awesome, Rebecca. Being a mom and getting into any field is an amazing accomplishment. And let's top that off, Ness, because if I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong, please, Ness, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's even more so being a single mother and finding a way to break into a field, to get the education, to push yourself further than so many others do and be able to do it. And you did it without anybody else. It was you and your kids, and that was it. And that shows more strength and more capability than so many people give you credit for.
Thank you.
And that's what it is. I will say I am lucky. With my wife and my 5 boys, I know I'm lucky. I'm still married. I still have my kids, and they will always, support me. They always have. And Ness says I'm right. All right, good. I'm right. I didn't want to be wrong there.
The other thing that I would say, get involved with the that love the cybersecurity awareness type training is anybody that does like voting. You get to the group that helps on voting day. They love to have a cybersecurity awareness training. They love it.
Yeah. And that's the big thing, is just putting yourself out there. I got another one. Go talk to schools. Go talk to the students, because us in cybersecurity, we have 2 things going for us. We know the dangers of privacy and the downfalls of teenagers and little kids being on Snapchat and Facebook and Instagram and all these things. Well, at the same time, we can give them opportunity and show anyone of any gender, of any color, of any race, religion, creed, it doesn't matter, that they can get into this field and make a difference in their home and in their career field. And by doing that, by getting to all the schools, you're on a reservation, getting to a school and being able to talk to them and saying, you too can do this. You can be where I am. Well, that will show everything.
Right. And like just assembling, finding other natives that are in the cybersecurity space is, a big thing for me. I mean, I've working on some stuff with on gaming and so like being able to pull together and have other native be able to speak on the importance of cybersecurity within gaming has been awesome. And I've made some really great connections. So, and then I'm also involved in the Intertribal Education Foundation, and they are working on bringing like a cybersecurity program to reservations, but with wraparound services. And so that the students can take it like their last year or last 2 years of high school, and then they can have an analyst, job. We're working with companies to have an analyst job right out. And then that way they can stay on the reservation, make a good living, and be able to be there and be culture keepers, right? And continue to speak their language and keep that, do the cultural things that are needed in their communities and their ceremonies and raise their children there.
And that was going to be a big
less than 1% of Native American in cybersecurity. Less than 1% in the entire country.
And it goes back to what Rebecca was talking about with, the availability of internet and the availability of being able to get online and do these things. And the fact that you just got it recently and were able to take the boot camp and do those things, being able to get out there and do this and bring them in, and then they don't lose their culture. Now, I won't say getting outside your reservation and being able to do things in the rest of the U.S. is bad.
No, but they have the option.
You now have the option to stay on the reservation. If you choose to stay there and honor your culture, honor your tribe, and honor all these things that are vitally important to a lot of people, especially tribes, and not have to leave to make a good living.
Yeah, and stay and be with your grandparents and be in your multi-generational home. Those are important things.
Exactly. And it is very important. And so now that capability is coming, and the fact that you're helping bring that to more and more tribes, that will be absolutely amazing, because I think that as the tribes evolve, as these, areas evolve to bring technology and internet and all this stuff there, it's going to be hard pressed that we need that. We need those cybersecurity people.
And to be able to work even for their own government. I mean, when they're working for their own government, they're aware of what they're trying to protect, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you are aware of the data and the information, and you personally care about that data and information because you want your auntie to be able to get her medications, you want your family to get the housing assistance or whatever that they need, you have more of a buy-in, like in your work,
you have a purpose.
Yes,
definitely.
I think there's a big difference between saying you have a purpose by working for some multi-trillion-dollar company versus your local and your tribal governments, and those smaller governments where you feel you truly belong and you feel a part of them. That'll always give you more purpose than any Fortune 500 or whatever company out there. Always. And same with your smaller organizations. You have more buy-in, you have more say, so you have more purpose. And Rebecca Ford says it. Rebecca Ford is always like chiming in right now. State, local, and tribal government are easy victims, and she's not wrong. They very much are. They've been hit time and time and time again. Is the smaller governments.
Yeah.
So definitely, I appreciate what you're doing, for sure.
When you started in cybersecurity, you reached out to some people in the industry. How has reaching out to others to get some questions or answers or where to go, how was that impacted you in your career so far?
I think it really changed. Well, I like your big mouth, Rebecca, and thank you for supporting another Rebecca. I appreciate it. I think it changed maybe what I wanted to do, right? Like everyone's always like, oh, when my kids tell people that their mom does cybersecurity, they're like, oh, she's a hacker.
She's a hacker.
Yeah, she's
you are
breaking things. And you know what? That's what everyone wants to do, or like everyone thinks they want to do, until they start having to write reports if they're an ethical hacker. And then they're like, oh crap, we have to write reports. We don't just get to bust stuff. So it changed, and I really liked the governance piece and being able to look at mapping what you have in place. Like, I mean, right now I'm using the NIST framework, right? So where I work, we use the NIST framework, and being able to map that and like have real conversations with people about how this all matches and what we need to implement, right? Like, look, it's great. You can say, oh yeah, patch your system, but it's more than that, right? You need a good vulnerability management plan, and let's build that plan, not just do the patches, on Tuesday we do the patches.
Well, you should. Look, I build vulnerability management programs. I still say, patch your shit, get it done. But to your point, you're right. James Driscoll, love some NIST. I hate NIST. No, actually, they're probably one of the best ones out there. I ain't gonna lie. But yeah, it does. It comes down to that program and matching it. Rebecca Ford, if I can help anyone here, reach out to Cyber Square Peg. Yes, please do.
Who's that Cyber Square Peg? I don't know.
I don't know. She
Rebecca
seems cool.
Ford. She's awesome. I know her. She's good people. But we do have a question for you, Rebecca. How much has what you learned in the boot camp reflected what you use day to day on the job? And do you feel like you still need to learn more?
I don't think there's ever a moment in cybersecurity or Infosec or OSINT that you ever don't need to learn more. I mean, I wake up and I always listen to Jerry Auger. I mean, I know he's kind of moved to 10 o'clock or moved his hours around, but like usually I drop my kids off and have my cup of coffee with him, right? And listen to it's growing like podcast in the morning. I have like certain things that I hit and read about. I look at different structures of organizations or businesses and kind of like look at the groups that I'm working with and what like contemporarily is happening. You know, if you're working in the travel sector, like go research what's going on in the travel sector right now in regards to cybersecurity and what the people that do that every day are talking about. Yeah. So I don't think that you ever stop learning. I think the boot camp gave me a good, basis. First of all, it like taught you how to, spin up machines. Like I can do that. I could just do that in my sleep now. And be able to run different programs. And then I think it taught me not to be like scared. Like if I break something, like you can fix it, right? It's fixable, hopefully.
Who's that Jerry guy that you're talking about? That guy?
Yeah. Gerald Auger.
Auger, yeah.
Yes, from Simply Cyber.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he does a good, he kind of goes off the CISO series. That GRC program that he has, I think it's like $30 now. I think it's worth a spin, I think
any GRC program is worth a spin.
Yeah. He's got the GRC Masterclass, and I think that that's a great program. And I tell a lot of folks that come to us at Raices to look at that program to understand governance, risk, and compliance. There you go, Leonardo.
Yeah, necessary flex. I was gonna say it was very unnecessary. You didn't have to do
that guy. Okay. Yep. And Carrie says he took the GRC Masterclass that he has. So, so again, that boot camp introduced you to a lot of stuff. The cybersecurity field, or the field of cybersecurity, I tell everybody all the time that, this is a field that if you don't like learning, you're going to get left behind, because technology changes every 3 to 5 years. So, all those people that say, oh, I've been in for 20, 30, 40 years in there. The reality is you only know the stuff that's around for the last 5 years. So we're all at the same level if you think about it. Yep.
Yeah. And I also think that you might want to change. Like, I don't know that I'm going to stay in GRC. I mean, ultimately, I'd like to go be an architect, right? And help people build their systems and networks. But I am where I am right now. Hey, Shane, how are you? And I'll get there, right? I'm not worried that I'm not going to get there. I will get there.
Yeah.
It just takes time, and it takes time. I talk to so many people, and we got Carrie. This field in cyber is just a little huge. We got Rebecca again. If you ain't learning, you are dying. And in this field, it's very true. And Eric, myself, we've all said it. If you're not constantly learning, you don't belong here. And if you don't like learning, you don't belong here. Plain and simple. Because it is. You have to every day, whether you're in GRC, blue team, red team, purple team, whatever, you have to constantly be learning because everything is always changing. There's a new 0 day, there's a new policy. Granted, policies like and frameworks change not as often as I would like them to change, but they still change. And you still have to know. If you look at CMMC, and they're now coming out with CMMC 2.0 and all these different things, they change. And you have to be able to do the research. You have to be able to learn. And if you're not willing to do that, there's the door. You don't belong here.
Right.
Technology changes too fast. Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
And I think you have to be willing to learn new, like actively learning new things, not just saying, oh yeah, I'm learning this, but not really being an active participant in that learning.
Yeah, for sure. What do you got, Eric? You said wait. What are we waiting for?
No. I was adjusting my camera. I went out of
okay. I thought you said we were waiting. Look, everybody listening on podcasts, you're missing out because YouTube is so much better. Or Twitch. I got Dark Elder on Twitch, so at least he's chiming in. I'm sure there might be more people there. More so for old people like Eric. They learn and forget. Eric probably has forgotten more things than you will ever learn. He's been around since the stone tablets, like the chisel and everything. So don't worry about it.
Well,
even seasoned professionals need to keep learning. It's very true.
Sometimes the older people that have been in the business, they just be dropping some like little educational nuggets of joy on your ass, and it is so good.
And it is. And the biggest thing for me has always been is you can learn from everybody, no matter their age, no matter where they come from, no matter who they are. He brags that he has an autographed Bible. Eric does brag about that because he does. He has an autographed one. It's from someone named Jesus. I don't know.
Spanish guy. Jesus.
But when you're talking to people, and Rebecca, you know what? Hold up. I'm gonna put this up here right now. Hold on. Hey, no, I did the wrong thing. Hold on. Eric, between me and you, we're screwing up. Please do it. There it is. Okay.
I'm not
Rebecca
touching anything.
I learned so much from newbies, renews my enthusiasm for the job. And she's not wrong. Look, I got to be honest. So when I got out of my SANS reverse engineering malware class, I was like, all right, let me get back into Hack the Box and start doing some of these reverse engineering things. And I started talking to a guy on Discord who was working through some of the same stuff. And I was like, okay, hey, like I'm stuck here. And he started guiding me through like, all right, did you look here? Did you do this? Did you use this program? Did you hit this tab? Did you do these things? And da-da-da-da-da. And ran me through everything through reverse engineering, this entire fucking thing. And it was like an expert level type of problem. And I was like, dude, you're awesome. I need you to teach me how you read all of this assembly code and how you do all these things. Can you please like teach me this? And I said, and by the way, I'm just kind of curious, how old are you? The kid was like 16. 16 fucking years old. And I was like, well, I quit. I give up. But it's one of those things. I learned from my 7-year-old, my 5-year-old. Like, you have to be able to listen and actively listen. Actually pay attention to people you're talking to so that you can learn from them.
I learned so much from our family and Raices. Okay. All these folks that are learning from the first time and seeing them, how much they apply to themselves to learn new stuff that they teach me every day, everything. So it's learning both ways. Like you said, sometimes we drop knowledge, but it's life skills, life learning of those teachings that we've had, because it's been hard. We had to hit our heads against a wall, but the technology, the way to apply it, the way to put it in there is something that we all have to learn. And it doesn't matter if you're a graybeard or somebody greenhorn, starting. So
I'm waiting for Eric to become Gandalf the White. So as soon as that all turns from Saruman color to Gandalf the White color, we'll be okay. You need to let it grow, though, Eric. It needs to like get down to here. We need to have some beard there. but yeah, and you're not wrong. And so, Rebecca, what would you say? Who would you say you have learned the most from? Whether no matter where, who has taught you the most in terms of whether it's life, cybersecurity, whatever it may be?
There was one of the professors in my classes, Michael Smith. He was awesome, and I was like in transition of like leaving my job, starting my new job. It was like right at the end of boot camp, and I was like behind, and he was like, just calm down and take your time with it, right? And I was trying to get my last, like my final project in to get my little star or my badge or whatever the hell they call them. And he was so cool. But then I ended up having like this rapport with him, and he was like, you should start this and do this in your community. And it was just enlightening, right? Because it made me think out of the box of what to start thinking about and what I really like enjoyed about my whole experience through the boot camp. And I mean, I stayed in touch with him on LinkedIn. He's a busy guy. He's probably like famous, some, cybersecurity famous guy, but.
So Jenny has a question. Beyond LinkedIn, which is in the description below, do you have any other socials that you would like to put out there for people to follow and connect with? And if you do, you can send them to me. You can announce them. I can put them in the description. It's up to you.
No, I'm not I'm not a social media. Yeah, no. I mean, I'm on LinkedIn. I just really, I don't know. It gets to be too much to manage. Yeah. How do I battle burnout? Sometimes you just go hibernate, Robert. You just hibernate and you turn everything off. I think that's why I had to really limit time on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. It was just, it's always coming at you.
Yeah,
So
I had to stop my OnlyFans account. So too
many feet pics, too many requests.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, and it is always a big question within the community is burnout. How do you fight burnout? How do you battle burnout? How do you prevent burnout? And Rebecca Ford, you don't need to explain no social media. Trust me, if I didn't have like YouTube and podcasts and everything else to promote, I wouldn't have social media either.
Hold on. I'm upset at you, Mr. Cyber Warrior.
Why?
What is it?
Because she said something about burnout, and you didn't bring in that thing you do on Mondays.
Yeah, your talk through the woods.
That's on Wednesdays, and that's the Walk With Me podcast that I have every Wednesday.
And you guys know, whenever he says
cheers
podcast, we have to drink.
Yes.
But I will say, I do have that, and I talked about burnout, and I have Motivation Monday. So if you're not listening to Walk With Me or watching Motivation Monday, which, by the way, I'm sorry for the past 2 weeks. It's been a rough 2 weeks for me. They will be coming back, though. All right, I had to take some time away from Motivation Monday, but they're coming back.
He had no motivation.
Oh, no, I had it. I just had to deal with some mental health shit. But Walk With Me always will be important. John Good here. Don't underestimate the value of networking and engaging on LinkedIn with other professionals in the industry that you might not get anywhere else. Like most things in moderation, it's okay. Let me just say, moderation is key to everything we do. Whether it's alcohol or social media or work or whatever it is, moderation is key. It's important. You have to find that balance, which, by the way, hey, now that gives me some topics for this Wednesday.
I also think in the burnout is go find something that you love to do, whether it's, program Raspberry Pis to drive little cars up and down your driveway. Go find those little things that you like to do and go do that when you're like anxiety ridden. That's kind of what I go do.
not just that, but it's so here's always been my big thing with burnout. You don't have to get away from cybersecurity or IT. You just have to not do your job. You have to be away from your job, and you have to be away from social media. And then you just find something that you love doing. That's all you have to do. Find something you love doing and just do it. And it'll get your mind kind of like in your own space, and you'll be able to just be there, be in the moment. Ness hacks. I feel like LinkedIn can be intimidating, in my opinion. I've always felt Twitter was more comfortable place for me, not speaking for anyone else. And I can understand where you're coming from because I was more active on Twitter than I ever was on LinkedIn. To this day, I'm probably still more active on Twitter than I am for LinkedIn. Eric, are you setting that up for Christmas?
Yes, I'm doing a Christmas show
Yes.
for Christmas, like the lights in my house with my Raspberry Pi.
Nice. I actually wanted to do that. I just don't have the money.
It's just a Raspberry Pi.
I can't even get a Raspberry Pi right now. I don't know what you're talking about. Them shits are like impossible to find at the moment. But hold up. We got whole cyber human initiative. So we got Paul here. Go ahead. Eric, you click it. Damn it. You keep doing that.
I'm not touching anything.
You clicked it at the same time I did,
No,
you
I
lying
didn't.
sack of shit. Actually, look into all 52 plus roles. Find 3 to 5 that speak to you and network with people in those roles. There is more than pen test and SOC analyst. So right. So right. There's so many roles. Eric has talked about it. Cybersecurity is a career field, not a job. So Rebecca, when you first started looking into cybersecurity, did you center on a job and what you enjoyed, or did you reach out to people and look and say, you know what, I want to learn it all. I want to fucking know everything.
I kind of went, I want to fucking know everything.
Yes.
I'm like an all-in kind of chick. And I knew like all these people were like getting jobs at like as SOC analysis because the program would help you find a job or like help desk or whatever. And now when I like talk to them, some of them are miserable, some of them are okay. But they're like, I wish I would have done what you did, Rebecca, and just talk to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the big thing is, so for me, Eric didn't need to test the pens when he was writing on tablets. You're right. He didn't.
I'm pen
He really fucking didn't.
pen
That's a Mike Miller thing there, Eric. All right. Mike Miller put out that video of what pen testing was.
Yeah, but that's old. That's old. He's been saying that for like 20 years.
He needs to go on to socks, that dude.
Oh my God. I love Mike. So, which, by the way, before we go any further, because we're coming up to the end of the show here in like 10 minutes, I do want to mention this. October 14th is my 100th episode, and I will have Mike Miller on with one of his mentees. I will be bringing back Stacy Champagne with one of her mentees because, in keeping with bringing new people on for my 100th episode, I'm also bringing their mentors. So we're going to have mentor and mentee episode on October 14th. And next week is James Driscoll. So he is in chat. James Driscoll is next week. So just getting that out of the way before I get to the end of the episode. But yeah, so Rebecca, I got to ask, so with all your learning, what gravitated you towards GRC?
I think when we went through that incident and then speaking, like I didn't have a lot of experience, and I think it was an easy way to talk to friends that own businesses, and they were like filling out their insurance paperwork and had like the stack of paperwork, and I could like sit down and help them fill it out. And then in there is like, do you have a business continuity plan? And they were like, what the hell is that, Fisher? And I was like, okay, let's start there, right? And it was an easy way to do that. And I had a lot of experience working with regulations and policy and procedure from my previous job, writing, getting them approved by the board, that kind of stuff. So it kind of was a natural move for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the big thing. Understanding policy and procedure. I never gave enough credit to the GRC side of things. when I
Your
first started getting
father is GRC. Come on.
Yeah, he didn't start doing that shit till I was already in cybersecurity. I'm the one that helped him like learn cybersecurity. Let's not get it twisted.
On respect
He was,
your elders.
oh, I
Yes,
do.
exactly.
I respect them enough to know when they don't. I straight out told my dad, don't touch a single piece of fucking equipment. Let's be honest. I said, you don't want to touch technology. You're gonna get fired. Don't do it. Did Dancing Granny study GRC? Probably. But I do. I have so much love and respect for GRC. As there she is, Dancing Granny.
Like I aspire to be her, actually.
Dancing. Hold up, wait. My finger is like all messed up. I can't. I hate cameras and shit. Dang it! I can't point. There she is. Wait, I just had her. There she is. Okay, over there. But GRC has been one of the saving graces for cybersecurity because they force companies to enforce policy and procedure. They force companies to actually implement standards and things of that nature so that security comes to the forefront. If you don't have GRC, then your blue team and your red team have no leg to stand on. They can't push for anything. And I think that's the biggest benefit to GRC is they give you a leg to stand on as a security team. Would you agree or disagree, Rebecca?
Yes, I think it gives you a leg to stand on. I also think it helps to enforce when you're with a bigger group or you're a small business and you want to be able to enforce something with your staff. It's there and it's written.
Yeah.
So I mean that like you have some backup and
sure.
And there's like some standards that you're applying, I mean, because some of the stuff I was just reading what the IoT stuff just dropped, like what they want or their recommendations for that. But like that's kind of like the Wild West,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, IoT stuff.
The IoT is going to be the Wild West for a good like 5 to 10 years still.
But you do guys realize that one of the first areas of security was GRC. We just didn't call it that back then. So back in the 80s, we had something called the Rainbow series in the military, in the government. And that was the predecessor to NIST. And it's called the Rainbow series. You can go to eBay and actually find it. And the reason it was called the Rainbow series was every single book was a different color. So the access control and all the different things were different. At that point in time, we had data processing system, not networks like we have now. Okay. So we started with information assurance, which was getting all the GRC, the risk, the compliance. So this is one of the first things that we had. Oh, look who's there. Who's that?
Percy. This is little Percy.
Oh.
And but to your point, Eric, that it has been around for a while, but it was never pushed to the civilian sector. It was a government only thing.
And I still think a lot of people call it information assurance.
Oh yeah,
in the military. In the military. Yeah. So, but the information security side of the house started with that certification and accreditation is what we used to call it. So that's the old GRC, being able to do the governance people and the compliance part. We didn't do very much risk management. So they are in GRC, but we did a lot of this stuff from way back when. We had the controls and you had to have the controls. I remember one of the funniest controls, and this is because we're in a show like this, one of the funniest controls that I ever had to assess was, do you have a sign posted next to the computer that says, do not eat or smoke near the data processing system? And that was a required control.
I read that control. I remember that control.
I had to, okay, you've got your sign. Yeah, okay, you're good.
Check.
You wrote that control. Let's not lie, Eric. You were the one that wrote that in. but yeah, so Rebecca, in terms of GRC, what would you say is one of the best parts about it for you?
I like that I get to work with people. I mean, I don't know that I would do well just only sitting behind a computer all day, like doing pen tests and writing reports. I don't think that that would have been a good fit for me. I enjoy the interaction with people. I enjoy the solving the problems. And I'm not, I'm not working for huge companies or anything. I want to help regular people.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's my sweet spot.
And I don't blame you because, when even with, me and Eric have talked about it and stuff like that. A lot of the big things that I did was all about helping others. I mean, that's why I joined the military, was to help the country, and why I started this show and why I've started some of my other shows. And I'm going to do a
That's why the
skull and
country's
cheers.
crappy.
That's where Walk With Me podcast came from, was helping others.
He joined the military to make the world better. That's why we're in the mess that we're in.
No, we're in the mess we're in because they killed Harambe. All right, and because of White Claw. Those two reasons.
Don't bring up Harambe.
That's why we're in the mess we're in. I still stick by that. That started the downward spiral for the shit we're in.
The White Claw.
But it's one of those things I look at, and it's so important to help people, and that's all I've ever wanted to do. And the fact that that's why you took on GRC was to help companies and people and still interact with people and have that relationship is so vital. So vital that I think so many people miss out on.
Well, and being able to explain it, right? I mean, a lot of times when you get the technical people involved, they lose everybody because they like over explain.
Yeah. Just got an IT job about 6 weeks ago. Network engineer. My favorite part of the job is going on site and helping business and end users. Munchkin. Harambe. But yeah, it is. It's, it's very much that middleman between the executive level and the technical level to be able to say, hey, you need to do this for this reason. And you know what? Let me break it down for you Barney style so you'll actually understand it. Let me get out my crayon so that you can understand what the technical people are saying. And so you'll finance the actual security in your organization. And that is what GRC, I think, brings to the table. And I think a lot of them are damn good at it. Damn good.
Well, hopefully I get to be I'm in the damn good crew later.
Look, I don't know what you have presented to people. So I'm really, really hoping, Rebecca, between this conversation and the future, I get to see some of your talks and what you bring to the table in terms of what GRC can help organizations with, because
that's a very important part.
I'd love to see you at a B-size or on Raices.
Yeah, that's a very important part. Share, learn in public, share, because you've been in the industry for a year. And I tell everybody, listen, you have one more year than that person that's right behind you learning. You've learned a heck of a lot of stuff that you can pass on. So each one teach one, and we will bring in more people into the field, and we will be more safe as a country. So learn in public and share your knowledge. And that's for everybody that's listening to us.
Yeah, most definitely.
Eric, you get to go on my quote board. I just wrote it down. It's going up tomorrow.
I was gonna say she's writing something down.
I got tons of them. Just ask me. Okay.
She's drinking White Claw, which is why I brought up the whole White Claw comment.
I totally know. I was just like, just let it go. in my Zen moment. I got through the podcast. I did it.
But all right. So look, we are at the top of the hour. I gotta ask. So before we get to Eric's, actually, you know what? Let's do Eric first. So Eric, give me your last words before we go to Rebecca.
First of all, we came up with a new term here.
Ericisms.
Ericisms.
So we have some exciting news from Raíces. We were awarded the Community Impact Grant from KPMG's foundation. So that was a huge thing that we had. I put it out on Twitter and LinkedIn today. Tomorrow, we have a great, exciting talk with Ricky Banda. He is between jobs right now, but he is a very good DFIR, so digital forensics and incident response expert. So come to join us in the Discord tomorrow. Do you have it HTTP bio link? The bio link? Do you have it in?
Let me see if it's down there.
Check it out. Okay, so come join us in the Discord for that talk. We have some other stuff that's going on, so please join us in our Discord here. We have a bunch of other stuff coming, some news that will be given next week, but we have a new partnership with a really big organization that's coming soon. And, you know, Hispanic Heritage Month is coming to an end. We're going to be doing some extra shows and things for the Hispanic heritage. And now, between October 1st and October 15th, cybersecurity awareness and Hispanic awareness are on top of each other. So we're going to be doing some new stuff. So stay tuned. Follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn. Everything's in the bio link /Raíces site. So please, let's go ahead and join the community. We're trying to get the community to over 1,000 people in the Discord. So come join us. It's not just Hispanics, Latinos, Latinas, and Latinx. It's also our allies. So come, everybody join there and see us there. Okay? Go ahead.
Definitely. All right. So before we go, and we do have Rebecca that's going to give her final words. Look, I don't know if I have Paisley to wear on live stream, but Eric probably does. So
I thought it was only 2,000, not 2,500.
Well, now it's 2,500. He upped it. So I hear Eric and Derek will wear Paisley on live stream and full cyber fundraiser hits the $2,500 milestone. Look, if you hit that milestone, I will find some pink or something to wear. I promise you, I will go buy some shit. So if you donate the whole Cyber Human Initiative for the fundraiser they're doing for people like Rebecca, who went through a boot camp, to be able to get a scholarship and be able to go through some of these boot camps and certifications, whole Cyber Human Initiative, go ahead, donate to them. They hit that good old $2,500 mark. Apparently, I got to wear pink now. So that'll happen. I'm just saying. I'm with it. I'll do it. I don't give a damn. But otherwise, look, Rebecca, I got to ask, give me some final words. What do you have for the audience at hand?
What do I have for them? Get involved. Get involved in your community. Ask everyone about what they're doing for cybersecurity. All your friends that own businesses, help them. Because I guarantee you they don't understand the paperwork they're getting from their cyber insurance carrier right now. I understand they probably don't understand all the different acronyms that are in there.
That's how you get experience. Volunteer, help other people, put it in your resume, get experience that way. Get a nonprofit, to help them. There's communities, churches, organizations in your area. Volunteer with them. Get that experience.
Do a webinar for your local chamber of commerce and explain, just talk about, cybersecurity awareness and things that they can do with their staff to bring awareness. Go talk to a friend that owns a business and sit down with their staff and have a lunch and learn in person. People love hearing about when something's like hacked or they have no idea. I think I get like focused on LinkedIn, so I see it all the time, like the latest hack or the latest this or the latest that. And you don't realize that not everyone else is in that realm, so they don't hear about that, and they're like, oh my goodness, I didn't even know that happened. Or what is PII? What does that mean, Rebecca? So
Wait, what's that mean? What's PII mean? What is that?
your information.
No, I completely agree. Get involved. That is the biggest thing you can do. But before we go, look, I got to say, it has been an amazing episode. Rebecca, thank you for joining us today. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I can't thank you enough. You have been amazing. I'm so happy that you're in your first year. I'm so happy that you are making big things happen. And I truly hope more people see what you bring to the table and what you can do, because that is why I'm doing this show. That is why I've changed the things that I do, because I want people like you and Carrie, who was on last week, and James Driscoll, who is going to be on next week, to be able to make a name for themselves and show organizations what they are capable of. So once again, thank you. This has been another amazing episode of Security Happy Hour, presented by CyberWarriorStudios, with my co-host, as always, the one, the only, Eric Bellardo Cyber. And I will see you all next time.